Chacun de ces qu'on y a arrêté au monde parce qu'il a fumé chichon.
Stop arresting patients! Stop arresting patients! Stop arresting patients!
Welcome to CMMNJ TV.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
I'm Ken Walski, Executive Director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. The mission of our organization is to educate the public about the benefits of marijuana. Marijuana is a safe, effective, and inexpensive therapeutic agent for a wide variety of diseases, symptoms, and conditions. No patient should suffer needlessly without it, and no patient should ever go to jail for following the advice of a doctor. Join us and learn more about the exciting science of medical marijuana. Welcome to CMMNJ TV. I'm Ken Walski, Executive Director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey. I'm here in the Princeton Community TV studios today with two Iraqi war veterans, Leo Bridgewater and Philippe Dumais. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Hey, Ken, thank you for having us.
And thank you for having me again, Mr. Walski.
So, we spoke earlier about your experiences in the war and your post-traumatic stress disorder and how how marijuana helps with the PTSD, the symptoms of PTSD that you've both experienced and you've both testified at in legislative committees. But tell us again, now, there's more to PTSD than just being in a war zone. So, you want to talk a little bit about that, Leo?
Well, it's funny because those who suffer from PTSD know what it looks like when someone else has got the mask on. Mm-hmm. You know, particularly when we can, when you, it's. I'm not going to say it's easily identifiable, but mm-hmm. you can just tell. Mm-hmm. And given, you know, like my experience with having been deployed and now returned home, I live in Trenton, New Jersey, and so I see a lot of people suffering from PTSD, but they just attain theirs in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm. And you're also a Trenton resident, Philippe?
Yes.
As am I. So you know, I was born in Trenton. I graduated from Trenton High in 1966, and I live in Trenton today. It's a very different city now. It's the violence that is associated with the war on drugs has been escalating ever since the 60s, and it's gotten to the point where, you know, I listen to gunshots outside my window quite frequently. And this is the experience that so many Trentonians have to grow up with and have to live with. And this itself, it causes, you know, trauma, and it's very, very detrimental to society.
Well, there's direct PTSD and then indirect. But it's still PTSD. And the direct is for those who suffer, who had their, you know, doors kicked in, have had relatives shot and killed in front of them, or just had it happen. Those are all forms of direct, you know, PTSD. And then the indirect is the visuals you see on the news, the visuals you read in the paper, what you see in social media. You know, those also have an indirect way of placing PTSD on a person. Sure. And so when you look at it from a psychological aspect, you know, it's having lived under this before and having seen this in Baghdad. Now that I'm home, because I just moved back to Trenton within the last couple of years, and so I'm trying to get caught up because I've been gone for over 21. So my frame of reference of Trenton, as you said earlier, my frame of reference is from 20-something years ago. What I come back to now, this Trenton looks like a place I've been, Baghdad. Yeah. So I've seen this before in the people, seeing the apathy. Yeah,
I've said it many times that, you know, when we're waging a war on drugs, this is not a war on drugs. This is a war on some drugs and certain drugs and some people. And the people who are mostly affected are the inner city residents, who are mostly minorities.
Yes. Yes.
And you know this has a devastating effect. It is like living in a war zone.
We are in vain. This is that is the name of this current time frame, as far as the city of Trenton goes.
Vain.
Vain. You know how they say, "Oh, don't let so and so's death be in vain." Yeah, we because we passed bad a couple of years ago, and this is all based on me doing my own research and analysis and trying to figure out what happened while I was gone. Because, mind you, I was on the other side of the planet. You know, it's not like I was in jail. I was just my career, my business, and so with Philippe for a while. It didn't bring us back over here. We were literally in a war zone, and so to go from one war zone abroad, and then you come home and find out that your city has literally turned into a war zone.
It has.
And you look at the pathology on how it got there, because see, at this point, based on the numbers, you know, there are 58,000 people in the city of Trenton over the age of 18, documented that is, and only 9,000 voted last election cycle. So that, to me, that PTSD has fed that sense, that citywide sense of apathy for a long time. Because when you keep asking yourself, how is it we're consistently hiring unqualified people to hold high-level jobs? When you look at it, that's where it goes at. So we are in vain. This is the name. This is the name I choose to give this period of time. But the thing is that there's something that there's a way that we can work this out. Again, having seen it done in Baghdad, and that is voting, because I was there.
Getting more people involved in the political process, engaging them in the political process, I think is the most hopeful way, certainly the most nonviolent way, and the most promising way to overcome this problem. But it's difficult, isn't it, to get to re-engage people, you know?
Well,
I mean, this problem has been going on for generations. You know,
Yes,
we're talking
yes.
about the children
Yes.
of people whose fathers and grandfathers have been
Yes.
through the criminal justice system.
Yes.
You know, I'm a nurse. I worked in the criminal justice system. I worked for the New Jersey Department of Corrections for 22 years, from 1984 to 2006. And in that time, the prison population exploded in New Jersey from 9,000 inmates to 27,000 inmates. It tripled in those 22 years. And 86% of the people in the prison system in 2006 were black and Hispanic. Now, you know, what kind of repercussions does that have? What kind of impact does that have on race relations and the ability for minorities to really meaningfully, you know, participate in American society?
Well, those are good questions, but those are also at this point, and understand what I mean by this. Those are now have become old questions, because the actual answer to your question is today. So when you say what is the impact today, so if you look at where we are as a people today, that's the answer to your question. And so again, today is vain. We've landed into vain. And see, when you look at the city, you know, you have again, I've seen this before. I can make these parallel comparisons just because, you know, but and I'm able to do this because I am getting caught up I have 21 years of history that I got to get caught up, that I'm reading within the last 2. And I'm also finding out, getting the lay of the land as far as my hometown. And so it's all fast for me. And to me, when you look at it, it's okay, the political process. And folks here, you know, you've broken your record for murders, and and so that means that with those numbers of the last election cycle, there hasn't been a death in this city that has galvanized the people to re-engage in the political process.
Yes, there has. That little girl's death.
Who?
That little girl that got shot for no reason.
No.
Like that. And her funeral still got shot up.
Yes, but when was the
You're in
last?
Trenton, you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then let me ask you something. Did she die before 2014?
She just died this last past couple of months.
Okay, so we'll know the answer as of right now, because everything that I'm saying is based on 2014, 9,000, right? So that means by the time.
There was another death between a little girl too.
Yes, and only 9,000 people voted.
And there was another death before then, because you gotta understand, in 2005, the gang here in Trenton blew up tremendously out of the woodwork, out of the water. There was a death, so it was like it was gang related. So it was like they was trying to get a father, but they did not know that the father had 2 little girls inside her. So they threw a Molotov cocktail inside the house, killing the 2 little girls and the father, which was a very big deal. Now, I hear everything that you're saying, but you haven't been here for 20 years, like you said. And the stuff that you did in Iraq, you can't compare it to what's going on here in America. One and foremost, we are known to do with political issues already. But the stuff that you did in Iraq in 2008, that was the
2005.
2005, that was the very first election.
Yep.
So therefore, and everything like that, that comparison, that's a good comparison, but that's not a good comparison because America has been dealing with political for years and sometimes. So with that being said, since that was their first election, political stuff, that's what is working for them. I'm not want to take nothing away from you, but you gotta understand this here. Why Trent is not moving forward? Trent is not moving forward because there's no support behind each other. Like behind each other in Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much hate in here. When I started doing this, Mr. Walski, you met me, I was a very adamant person, very ongoing, very energized. But I've been doing this going on for about 3 years. Why do I keep going and stopping? Keep going and stopping? It's because there's the support system. There's no support system here in Trenton. 80% of people living in Trenton does not get out of this city. And they still stay in this poverty. And it's not because of default, it's because there's no support system. Now, only reason I said there's no support system, just the other day, there was a Black Lives Matter here going on in Trenton. Why was there more Caucasian people than black people?
There were more Caucasians at the Black Lives Matter rally here in Trenton than there were black people.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Super amazing.
Can I, real quick?
No support system.
Okay, real quick. I haven't been here in 21 years. So someone who hasn't been here in 21 years can only do one thing, which is research, correct? If I want to get caught up. I just told you 58,000 people there are 58,000 people in the city of Trenton that are over the age of 18, voting age. That's a fact. There's also a fact that in 2014, 9,000 people voted. Only 9 out of 58,000. So as far as I'm concerned, whether I've been here 21 years or not, when you look at that number, that's telling you that there has not been a death in this city that has galvanized the people to re-engage in the political process. You could name whatever situation you want. Wait a minute. Numbers don't lie. So it's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about fact. No, wait, hear me out, brother. Hear me out. It's about facts, and it's a fact. When you got that kind of number, you can't get caught up in the. You can only wait a minute. You can only look at it from a point of that says that people are dying and you're still not voting because that is the way to fix it.
But hear me out. I understand what you're saying, and everything that you're saying is fact. But everything that I'm also saying is fact.
I ain't saying that's not an argument here.
But then that's not the argument.
You're the one who told me I was wrong.
I never said you was wrong. Those words did not get out of my mouth.
You said I was wrong.
Did I? No. I gave you.
You just sat here and said I was wrong.
You said, is there a death that galvanized in the state? But I told you a couple of deaths that galvanized the state of Trenton.
To re-engage in the political process.
Not to re-engage. See, that's what I didn't even say to re-engage. You just asked me a question. Two as like, has there been death in the state of, two as like Trenton alone?
We only talked about Trenton, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But when you asked me that question, you didn't say to reinstate the city of voting into Trenton. But then I told you there's been a couple of deaths. That's why I didn't give you one example. I give you 2, maybe 3 examples. There has been a couple of deaths that should have been.
And people still voted.
No. Hold on. I'm not done. There has been a couple of deaths in Trenton. Now, I'm not gonna say that everybody voted, but people still probably voted. You don't know what's going on in everyday people's life and everything, but I'm not gonna go into that. So I never said, those words did not come out and say, oh, you're wrong. I just try to let you know I was like, there has been some deaths in Trenton, so I was like, it made people wake up and that it continued. Now, what I said also is like, in America, New Jersey, politics has been going on here for a while. But then again, the stuff that you did in Iraq, that was the first time politics happened. So that's why it's working for them. It's like saying this. I'm a doctor. I'm gonna put you in front of 10 veterans, which they do and everything. You feel me? And the doctor is gonna take care of us. So the doctor's been a doctor, but then again, he's in a circle of 10 veterans. Your PTSD is different from mine. My PTSD is different from you. So why are you gonna take care of me the exact same way? I don't want to take nothing away from you, but if you think voting is what's really is gonna help out the city of Trenton, don't forget our last mayor was Tony Mack. He did a lot of BS.
Well, that's a good point.
With drugs and
You know,
everything like that. And he
it's
appointed his family member, which were gang members,
Yeah.
and that did a lot of BS also.
Yeah. Right. You know,
And nobody voted.
No, and people. Well,
9,000 people voted. 9. Like that's great, but where's the part that? Tell me the part in the voting part where it galvanized the people to re-engage in the political process.
Apparently it didn't, because we're still here
It hasn't happened.
at state
It hasn't
one.
happened.
Yeah,
And
which
it
is
was
what was my original point when I said there has not been a death yet in this city that has galvanized the people to re-engage.
But I gave you a couple of examples.
no,
Which
I-
it should have been.
Gentlemen.
That's why I told you.
Maybe
where
it should have been. But you know, some.
There's kids dying out here for no reason.
But,
I
but
see
some
that
of
too.
These deaths may be counterproductive in terms of getting more people involved in the political process. They may just deepen the despair. You know, when you have fire bombings and children being killed in Trenton as a result of, you know, just the general violence and the drug wars, you know,
It's all PTSD.
This is more despair happening. This is not engagement. This is not something that makes the average person want to go out.
That's
and
the
register to
indirect.
vote,
That's the
you know?
indirect. The
So,
indirect PTSD.
you know,
there hasn't been an environmental event that has happened to re-engage, to get people re-engaged in the political process, whether it's for the city of Trenton or just the environment. Period. And how many times has this city been flooded and blizzard out, and the effects of all that? I've seen this too.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying to you is that when I make these comparisons, believe me when I tell you, yeah, I've seen some things, and now that I'm back in Trenton, there are a lot of things that I have seen before from over there.
Yeah.
Agreed.
A whole lot. And and the fact that I haven't been here for over 21 years is actually an asset. It's actually, you're looking at it, I'm looking at Trenton with fresh eyes. And what these fresh eyes are seeing is something that they've seen before over there. Not to a T, but a lot of similarities, especially when you're talking about the general population. These people are suffering.
You're talking about people living in war zones.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
One
I've
war
seen that.
zone
Yes,
is
yeah.
I've seen that.
military
Yeah.
involved in it, and here
It's like moving from Haiti and moving to Trenton. I seen that. I experienced that.
And when you look at those faces, and listen, we talking babies and old people have gotten killed. Babies and old people, and not just. And when you're looking at the current climate of the country right now, you got 84 documented thousand people in a 7 square mile range. We're lumped in together like that, and that's what you see and hear on a day-to-day, regular. Yeah, this is deep, and it's been going on for a long
here
time.
we have a black president of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was an Obama supporter. I'm a Green Party member, but I did support President Obama in both his runs for office. And I was proud to have him as my. And I'm still proud to have him as my president. I think he's not everything I had hoped for, but he's a good and a decent man, and he's a good president, I believe.
Do you remember what George Bush said when he left? History will judge me later on. Never has it rang so true for a president than Barack Obama. That same sentiment. He will get his just dues.
Yeah.
Not even. I may not live to see it, but it'll happen.
I had hoped that with a black president, we would have better race relations in America, and yet it seems like there's more crises.
It's gotten worse.
It seems like it's gotten worse.
Well, for a lot of you're not alone in that way of thinking. You're not alone in and the admiration that he and his family has shown, particularly when you got so many, like you look at how graceful they've carried themselves, and then they're considered counterculture because you got the Kardashians and all that, that whole thing, the images that are being fed. And for them to remain as humble and as gracious as they have been, they will be missed. They were such a sight to see, particularly when they did go overseas. And I felt like they represented, the United States, all of us, not just, and I was just even a little more because they were African American, so they were representing me too. Look at them. That's what we really look like. That's not the only way.
But to my way of thinking, the race relations did not improve. And what's the cause of that? The way I see it is it's the war on drugs. The war on drugs is such a polarizing thing. It takes so many minorities in the community, and it just creates second-class citizens.
I ran into Mr. Jack Cole, which is the owner and founder of LEAP, which is Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. And one of his officers, which actually arrested the guy that played American Gangster.
Denzel Washington?
Not Denzel Washington, the one that he was portraying.
Oh, Frank Lucas.
Frank Lucas. His friend actually arrested Frank Lucas.
He arrested
Frank Lucas, the big time drug dealer. And when we did, because remember I told you we was doing our documentary in the state of New Jersey for cannabis, we actually interviewed him also on that today. They both give us their input to as like the war on drugs actually has started to actually start doing that to the black communities purposely and stuff.
President Nixon said
Yeah.
With his guy H.R. Haldeman, admitted that it was a way to get back at the hippies and the blacks, to pursue this war on drugs, which with the drugs that were common among those subcultures. So,
and that's a way of thinking, and that we're only a generation removed from that way of thinking.
So the war on drugs was racist in its origin.
Yes,
and it was pursued for no good reason, for selfish political reasons, and I believe that, and it continues to this day. For no good reasons, and for reasons that are counterproductive to integrating more of the minorities and the poor into the American society.
Well, the operative word counterproductive, because yes, counterproductive for society as a whole, but productive for a very powerful few.
Yeah, sure.
Because when you look at
not a lot of winners in the war on drugs.
Because see, when you look at those who actually use, let's say just average medicinal marijuana, it's equal.
Yes,
white folks consume cannabis
at the same
equally
rate.
the amount that, and I know a lot of people.
And blacks are arrested 3 times as often.
So what kind of adrenaline shot for who was that? And money.
Not only that, there's not a lot of black-owned cannabis entrepreneurship. There's more white-owned cannabis entrepreneurship.
Right.
If you go to Colorado's doing that. Colorado just got done donating over some obscene amount of money to the schools.
Yes. I don't know that anywhere particularly dedicated towards helping minority communities.
I mean, you gotta understand. You start off with the school. The school the kids are our future. So at the end of the day and everything, whether you want to start off in a minority area and everything, if you're focusing and start off with the kids and everything like that, it's a start right there within itself. Because kids nowadays are not getting the education that they're supposed to be getting in school. First of all, if you look at the demographics in the world, America is really low in education.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Christie's recent announcement about the equal pay for each child. And then
taking the money away from the inner cities and giving it to the suburbs.
Who did that hit hard? And it's like, we just had Who did it hit the hardest?
Oh, the minorities.
Yes, sure. Trenton. And so because you look at, if you look, it's designed so that
the rich stay rich.
No, it's designed so that homeowners or property owners won't mind. We're not going to mind having this happen, having his plan go into effect, because ultimately what it does is it considerably lowers my state property tax.
Yeah, sure. The rich stay rich.
Wait. And so, but at the same time, it helps quell the argument of by taking money away from poor kids or inner city kids. We're not going to mind no matter what. We're not going to mind, but we're going to take the money from the poor kids to.
Hopefully there'll be enough.
Yeah.
Stay rich and the poor stay poor.
Now, if you were to legalize it, you know, like look what happened in Colorado being the example, and Philip said, saying, you know, look at how they had to give money back.
Right.
The
They
state
didn't have to. They choose to.
No. The law says that they have a cap.
State constitution.
Yeah, the state constitution says that they only allowed to have up to a certain amount of money. $1 and 1 cent past that number, it is against the law for the state to have that much money. So anything beyond that one number, well, when they legalize weed, that's when they legalize cannabis, they surpassed that number. And so because it was against the law for them to have it, they had to have a vote. And the vote was they had to ask the people, can they keep the money or do they have to give it back? And the people voted, and they voted they wanted their money back. So the state of Colorado made so much money they had to give the money back because it was the law.
And you asked too about, or you suggested that there were powerful interests who profited from the current war on drugs. And I think we've identified some of those interests as the pharmaceutical industry, because marijuana represents such a threat to their profits because it treats safely and effectively so many.
I was going to say, yeah, it knocks out so many medicines. Yeah, somebody who had, and you're a nurse, so you know people who probably had to take 28 pills a day. Sure. Cannabis. What if cannabis knocked out 20? Could knock out 26 of them.
Exactly. The alcohol industry, because the alcohol industry is threatened by legal marijuana because marijuana is a safer alternative for someone who wants to relax with a joint in the evening instead of a cocktail.
God bless America. God bless America.
Thank you, Mr. Watsky.
For more information about the Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey, join us at our free public meetings on the second Tuesday of every month at the Lawrence Township Library in Mercer County, New Jersey, from 7 to 9 p.m. Snacks are served and all are welcome. Remember, every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone's arrested for marijuana.
For marijuana.
For marijuana.
Cada 42 segundos está uno arrestado por marihuana.
Every 42 seconds, somebody is arrested for.
Every 42 seconds, someone in this country is arrested for marijuana.
Chaque 42 secondes, il y a arrêté un monde pour marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana.
Every 42 seconds, someone is arrested for marijuana. It could be you.